Hello dear friends, I'm Samuel Moore and welcome to my Study with Samuel video series. So today, I'd like to talk about the flamenco paddle Farruca. Farruca is a slow to medium tempo flamenco form with 4 beats in its compás, meaning that you count it like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In terms of its key, you can perform Farruca in a number of keys, but most commonly it's performed in A minor, meaning that the main chords you need to worry about are A minor, D minor, and E7. Now, as I mentioned in previous videos, the purpose of this lesson series is not to teach you the whole performance structure of the Farruca, nor is it to teach you falsettos or technique. We're principally interested in compás playing. In other words, the core rhythmic idea that you'll keep coming back to again and again. Over many years of teaching, I've noticed that a lot of students find it hard to vary their compás playing, and often fall into the trap of looping round and around the same basic ideas, with little or no variation. With this in mind, we're going to tackle this in the context of Farruca head-on today. What we're going to do is split the lesson into 2 chunks. In the first half, we're going to establish a core idea, and in the second half we're going to look at different ways you can build variations within its component parts. Let's start by establishing a core idea. This. So let's break that apart and work out what's going on. We'll start with the left hand. So in many respects, this is a very simple idea. It's essentially an 8-bar structure and you change chords on each bar. In bar 1, you're playing the E7 chord. In bar 2, A minor. And that chord cycle then repeats for bars 3 and 4. So you're back to the dominant, and then back to the tonic. But then when we get to bar 5, we move to D minor. In bar 6, the A minor. And then for bars 7 and 8, essentially the turnaround phrase, we'll talk about that more in a second, we're back to the original idea. E7, A minor. So if I just strum through the 8-bar sequence, you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, at the moment, it just sounds like we're strumming through a set of chords, so let's bring this hand into the mix to make it a bit more interesting. What we're going to do is just look at a basic rhythm pattern. It's quite simple, really. What we're going to do on beat 1 is we're going to come down with the thumb at the same time as tapping with this finger against the body of the guitar, like so. And on the and of beat 1, bring the index finger up. So it's basically 1 and. Then on beat 2, we're going to do a 4-note rasgueado. So you're going to bring the fingers into the palm of the hand and go down, 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 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2. Put that with what you've already got, and you get 1, 2. Then, on beat 3, we're going to do a down strike with the index finger combined with a golpe, and an up strike with the index finger on the and. So that's 3 and. Put that with what you've already got. 1, 2, 3. And beat 4, it's really simple. Just index finger, down and up. No golpe. So the whole pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just loop round that a couple of times to get used to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. By using that hand pattern, you can actually play the majority of our core idea. You can pretty much go all the way up to bar 6 with that one pattern. One little thing, however, you've got to be careful with the start of each bar, because obviously the E chord, the bass note is E, but the A chord, the bass note's A, and D, the bass note is D. So why is this important? Well, it's quite simple. If you're going to do the down strike with the thumb at the start of each bar, you've got to make sure you're striking the right bass note. So be meticulous. When you're playing the E, you can strike down from the 6th string. But when you're playing the A, you strike down from the 5th string. And similarly, the D chord, strike down from the 4th string. In other words, you don't want this to happen, where you get all these notes ringing out that shouldn't be there. But assuming you've got your hand lined up the way it should be for each chord, the basic pattern will work over the chords you've just learnt, like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you'll have noticed that when we played that last bar, bar 6, it changes very slightly. We start as normal, 1, 2, 3, but we stop there. We don't go 3 and 4 and, we just finish on the down strike on 3. And we mute the strings as we do it. So we basically come to a close at that point. I'll play that again so you can hear what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're now at bars 7 and 8. Now, the phrase that happens here when you go back to the E7 and A minor, it's effectively a turnaround, which is kind of a fancy way of saying a phrase that drops you into the start of the cycle again. And to do the turnaround, I'm just going to show you a classic idea. So on the E7 chord, we're going to do a bass line. With the thumb on this hand, you're going to play the bass note B, which is what this finger's playing, and then do a down strike with the index finger. So it's basically 1, 2. Then on beat 3, you're going to put your pinky here on G sharp and do the same again. So bass note as a rest stroke with the thumb, and then down strike across the chord with the index. In other words, giving you 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when we get to the next bar, bar 8, we're going to play the bass note A, again, rest stroke with the thumb. On beat 2, you're going to tap, and as you tap, you get ready to play the A minor chord, and you're going to conclude by doing a 5-note rasgueado. Down, 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 up. And that final up strike is beat 3. So it's basically 3. So put that together and the turnaround sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put all of that together and you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In a moment, we're going to play that just as a loop to get you used to it. But before we do, I just want to mention one thing. The hand pattern that I've taught you, where you are essentially going down with the thumb at the start, you don't necessarily have to go down with the thumb at the start. So you may have seen me do it sometimes when I was playing then. There's nothing to stop you doing a down strike rasgueado instead of a down strike with the thumb on beat 1. So for instance, instead of going 1, you could just go 1. There's nothing to stop you doing that if you wish to. The bass note with the thumb strike brings a little bit more character to the phrase, which is why, generally speaking, I prefer to use that. But like I said, you can do the whole thing pretty much with the index finger, apart from the rasgueado, if you so choose. With this in mind, let's just loop round that core idea a couple of times just to get used to it. I'll do it without me counting. Here we go. So there you have it. That's the core idea we're going to be working with today. In a moment, we're going to look at some variations, but before we get to those, I just want to say this. In order to do the variations effectively, you have to have a very solid grasp of the core idea. With this in mind, if you need to work back through the video or go over anything, now's the time to do it. It's only going to get more complex from here on in. Before we continue with today's lesson, I'd like to do a quick shout out to let you know about my new Patreon account. For those of you who've never come across Patreon before, Patreon is a unique crowdfunding platform that allows artists like myself to offer exclusive content in exchange for monthly pledges. Your generosity allows me to continue working as a full-time musician, and in exchange you get access to some really great material. From unseen tutorial videos similar to this one, to flamenco guitar lessons. You even get access to my weekly gathering, the Midweek Guitar Meet. This weekly study group takes place on Wednesday evenings and is a great opportunity to connect with a global community of like-minded musicians who share your passion, at the same time as getting targeted feedback from myself on a regular basis. So if all this sounds interesting to you, please click the link in the description below to access my Patreon page and select an option that works for you. I look forward to meeting you, connecting with you, and together continuing our musical journey. Now, however, let's get back to today's lesson. So, having now established our core idea, I want to look at different ways you can vary it. In order to do this, we're going to look at different component parts of the phrase. The majority of what we're going to look at to begin with are bars 1 through to bar 6. We'll look at the turnaround later. So one of the most simple things you can do is basically add in some nice melodic ideas to each chord. So basically, a classic idea when you're playing the dominant chord is simply to move up the scale as you play. So you start on beat 1 with the chord as it is. On beat 2, with this finger, you put the C sharp in the chord. And then on beat 3, you use the pinky to put the D in the chord. And on beat 4, you go back to the original chord. In other words, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. And when playing this, you can use that with the classic hand pattern I taught you earlier. So you could play 1, 2, 3, 4. Or alternately, you could just do it all as down and up with the index. So in other words, you don't have to do the 1, 2, 3, 4 on beat 2. In other words, you could just go 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are two options for that chord. This and this. They're very simple, but they're very effective. On the A minor chord, we're going to do something a bit more interesting. We're going to start as normal. But then when we get to the rasgueado, we're going to put a little half bar here. So basically, the index finger is going to not only play the C, it's also going to play the F. And that's going to stay for beats 2 and 3. And then come off on beat 4, thus giving you 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do a very similar thing on the D minor chord. So it's the same basic idea. You start as normal, and then you put the G with the pinky on beats 2 and 3. And then take it off on 4. So, in other words, simple but very effective. Put all of this together from bars 1 through to bar 6, and you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on beat 6, sorry, bar 6, you just play the way you did before. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course the turnaround you previously learnt still works. So let's just play that together. It's a really simple phrase. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can carry on. So within a very short amount of time, we've already made our basic compás sound a lot more sophisticated. Let's look at some other ideas. So a really nice thing that you can do is you can basically change the way you do the rasgueado. So in other words, we're going to change the hand pattern slightly. Previously, we had something that looked like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. What we're going to do is keep it roughly the same, but we're going to move where we put the rasgueado. Instead of putting it on beat 2, we're going to put it on beat 3. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, you're now going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so beat 1's the same as before. And then beat 2, you're going to just go down, up with the index, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on beat 3, and then down, up with the index on 4 with a golpe. So let's just loop that a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that with the chords. We'll just do it without any of the melodic embellishments for now. Just play the chords straight, and you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we revert back to the original here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the turnaround. Will work as normal. So let's play it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's worth mentioning as well, you can put any of the chord embellishments we learnt a moment ago into that hand pattern. So for instance, there's nothing to stop you going 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. You see what I mean? You can kind of mix and match that as you please. It's a really simple idea, but again, it's very effective for varying your compás. Another really nice idea is to change your hand pattern altogether with this hand. A classic one that you hear on a lot of older recordings is basically you tap and then you go with the index finger up, down, then you repeat that idea, tap, up, down, and you finish tap, up. So in other words, it's tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up. Or if I say it with the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just loop that to get used to it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you don't really have to do very much to make this one sound interesting. You can literally just play all the way through to bar 6 with that pattern, and it'll sound great. So just with the basic chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see how it works? It's a really nice idea. It's also worth mentioning at this stage that with all the ideas I've shown you so far, you don't have to play through the entire 8-bar cycle with just one idea. You can mix and match them. So for instance, you could play the first embellishment I showed you on beats 1 and 2. You could go, but then you could change the hand pattern for beats 3 and 4. And then you could go back to the original idea when you get to bars 5 and 6. And then so on. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to do it all the way through the cycle with the same idea. You can chop and change them. This being said, it's often good to have regularity with the way you play it. So stick, as a general rule, stick to keeping it fairly solid for now, but in time, bear in mind you can chop and change. Now, so far, we've really kept the chords pretty much the same. I'd like to look at one idea now where we reharmonise the chords a little bit. And that's just a fancy way, by the way, of saying changing the chords. We're going to do this basically on bar 4. So we've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here we are, 1, 2, 3, and on beat 4, we're going to go to a dominant 7 chord, so an A7 rather than A minor. And the reason why we're going to do that in bar 4, beat 4, is that's going to cadence you really nicely onto the D minor. In other words, the A dominant chord, it really sounds like there's a gravitational pull that wants to take you to the D minor, and that's why we're using it there. So imagine you've just played, it doesn't really matter which pattern you've used, but let's for argument's sake say the classic one I taught you right at the start of the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then here, this is where you change, 4, and you just go down and up with the index, and that will drop you onto the D minor really, really well. So that's just a nice little harmonic variation you can add to your playing, and it's very, very effective. You'll hear that a lot in recordings. So far we've only really talked about bars 1 through to 6. We've not really talked about the turnaround, 7 to 8. So the final thing I'm going to show you today is a nice little variation for the turnaround. The one you originally learned is a classic idea that lots of people use. But there's lots of options that you can work with here. I'm only going to show you one, and I'm going to show you it because it's just a beautiful classic idea that lots of people use. It's melodic, so instead of playing a very kind of chord-based phrase, we're going to have a melody. So imagine you've just come out of bar 5. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next bar 1, 2, 3 as normal. But on beat 4, you're going to tap the body of the guitar with this finger. So it's basically going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to line yourself up here. So the index finger is going to go on F, and you're going to use a picao here. So basically, this isn't a technique lesson, but just so you're aware, picao, it's these two fingers, generally speaking, alternating. You know, I, M, or M, I. And each one of those is always a rest stroke. Like I said, this isn't a technique lesson, but that's just a rough idea of what's going on with the picao technique. And all we're going to do is we're going to play the F, and pull off to E. So that's with the index finger starting. And we're then going to go to the second string, and we're going to do a chromatic pattern. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, open. So you've just gone, and then, okay. And then you carry on with that chromatic pattern down the next string. So you've just done it on the 2nd string. You're now going to do it on the 3rd string, the 4th string, and finally on the 5th string, it's slightly different. 3rd, 2nd, open. So don't play the 1st fret on that final phrase. Put that together and you get this. If I take a run at that from the preceding bar, you'll see how it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you can see there at the end, we close as normal. You've gone 1 and then tap 2, 3. So it's a really nice closing phrase. If I put it in the context of playing a whole cycle, it'll make a bit more sense. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's quite simple, but it's a very effective alternate idea to use at the end. And the reason I love this phrase, you basically get quite a lot of bang for your buck. It's not that hard to play, but it sounds disproportionately more difficult than it actually is. So it's a lovely little phrase. So that's the only ending I'm going to show you that's a variation for the turnaround, but it's a very effective one. And this brings us to the end of what I wanted to show you today. These are a number of ideas you can work into your Farruca playing to make your Compás more varied and interesting. I can't emphasise this enough, however. Make sure you are very familiar with each idea on its own before you start trying to mix and match them and randomise the order of them. In other words, get the fundamentals in place before you try to make it more exciting and varied and sophisticated. As always, I'm going to close today's lesson by demonstrating what happens when you start to put all this together. Here we go. Well, my friends, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. But if you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. There'll be more videos coming soon. If you're interested in studying with me on a more one-to-one basis, you can book Zoom and Skype lessons via my website. A link is in the description below. Until we next see each other, however, you stay safe, and as always, thank you for watching.